Now that your banner is made, it's time for you to create your navigation for the Alamo site. So first thing I want to do is I actually want to use this image right here of the floor plan, and I'm going to go ahead and do a Command C to copy. And then I'm going to go and start a new file. This new file is going to be our navigation, and it's going to have a width of 200, height of 500, resolution 72, and because I had already used this custom color, it's there. If yours is not there, you just simply need to type in the hexadecimal code 999933, hit enter, and hit OK. And this is what you get to start off with. So we're going to put that image of the map, in the background. So since I copied it already, I'm just going to do a Command V to paste. And I'm going to use my scale tool to, I want to make sure that it covers, let me try that again. I didn't mean to delete it altogether. And there we go. And because it's lines, it's sometimes hard to select all of it, as you may have seen. And I'm going to just make sure that mine gets kind of an interesting look there in the middle, and I'm going to leave that alone. I can use my layers panel and lock it so that I don't accidentally move it again if I'm worried about that. So now we're going to create what is called rollover buttons. Okay, and I'm going to start by using my text tool. And if you remember, our text was Arial black, and it was regular, and then it had a white color. So I'm going to go ahead and the first thing I'm going to do after I click in my text box is I'm going to use this center align. And this is important on these buttons because as we start creating more, if we don't have center align, it's going to be hard to align them later on. So hit that center alignment button. And I'm going to start with the button that is probably the widest, which is going to be where it is. And as soon as I type that, I'm going to go ahead and just move it on the stage. And I think that's probably an okay width, so I'll leave that as is. I'm going to go to Modify, Symbol, and I'm going to convert this to a symbol. And the kind of symbol I want is button. And I'm going to go ahead and name it Where and click OK. Now, as soon as I name it and click OK, it gets this green kind of film on it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Notice here in your tools, I can hide the slices so that I don't see it, or I can show them. Okay, so that's all it is it's showing me where the slice is. I'm going to double click to go inside the button. Notice now how it shows the symbol of the button and it says where. That means I'm inside it and I can edit. And if I look down in the properties, I can see that I am in the up state. If you hold that down, you can see that there are 5 different ones here. Up, which is what your button looks like when you first load a web page. Over, which is how it looks when a mouse rolls over it. Down is when you click, and then over while down is holding it. The active area simply shows you where the clickable area is. When your mouse rolls over it and you get the finger, that's what that is. Okay? So I'm going to start by going to the over state, and you'll see that there's nothing there. So I want to click on this button that says Copy Up Graphic, and then the text shows up again. Okay, so it's easy. Now I want to be careful not to move this because I want the text to be in the same place from the up state to the over state and so on and so forth. What I do want to do, however, is I want to get my rectangle tool and I want to give it a black fill and no stroke, and I want to put a black rectangle around it. Okay? Now at the moment the rectangle is in front of the text. I can use my layers panel to move it. I can also, if I use Control click, I can do arrange, and you can see bring to front, back, etc. Okay? Now, I need to select both parts of this button, because what I need to do now is I need to align it to the center vertically and horizontally. And notice that my align panel says relative to object. If you had relative to stage, then notice that it puts it in the middle. Okay? Which for this first one, that's not a big deal, but as we go on later, it would be. Now, I'm going to deselect by getting my arrow and clicking in the gray, and I'm going to go check my active area. Now, at the moment, oh, and see what I did? Notice that the active area comes all the way down here. That's because when I did the relative to stage, it moved things. Okay, so that means that it moved this stage different from there. Okay, and that's bad. We don't want that. So let me see if my Command Z works. There it is. I Command Z a few times, and now my states are in the same place. Okay, and I can click on active area, and I can see the slice right over top of that, and that's good. So now I can go back, whoops, to where I said saw page 1, and I can see my button. Okay? All right, now that we have one item, we should look in our document library, and we can see the item down here. Now, we could go in and just make all the other buttons, but then we risk having different fonts, different sizes, different colors, etc. It's easier if we just control click on it, or actually not control click. We have to go to this, see how the document library has a little options menu here? I can go to duplicate, and I can make this another button that I'm going to call history, and I'm going to click OK. And now if I drag history on the page, notice that it looks identical. But if I double click in this new one, see how it tells me I'm in the history button? And now if I select it all, I can type its history. It's centered. If I click outside of it, notice that it asks me if I want to update the text in other button states. I can click yes, and I can go and I can double check, and I can see that in the overstate, it's been changed there as well. I can select either one of these, duplicate again, and I can type in home, make it a button, and then I make sure that I'm dragging my home on the stage, double click, and type home. Yes, I want to update. Do a quick check. Looks good. And I can go back. Duplicate. Myths. Make it a button. Click OK. And put myths on the stage. There's two common problems that I see when people create these buttons. And that is, number one, that when you drag them from the library to the stage, you're not aware of which one you're dragging, and so you wind up having two where it is, and you keep trying to edit it, and it changes both of them. The other problem that I see often is that you'll be inside of a button and try to drag another button to the stage. And look what happens when I do that. Okay, so that's obviously wrong there. I'm going to delete that. And I have one more to do, and that will be links. And here is links for me to pull on. And links. Click outside, yes, and go back. All right, so now what I want to do is I just want to get my home and my links approximately the same distance there. I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to use my Align panel. And with them selected, I will align horizontal center. I don't want to align vertical center. That'll put them in the middle of the page. What I want to do, however, is I want to distribute the vertical center right here. And what that's going to do is it's going to put an equal amount of space between each button. Now I can click right here and do a quick preview. And this is, like I say, a quick preview, okay? Because the best way and the only accurate way is to actually preview it in a browser. So it looked good there. What I'm going to do now is, first off, I want to do a save. And this is going to be my nav. And I need to make sure that I'm going into my Alamo folder. And since this is the PNG file, it should go in the source folder. Okay, because that doesn't actually get put on the web page. However, now when I export, I need to export as HTML and images, and I need this to go in the Alamo folder. So the HTML that it's going to export is going to go in the main root folder. Then down here where it says put images in subfolder, I'm going to check it, and I want to hit browse. And I actually want to create a folder called Nav. And the reason I'm creating one is because I want these navigation images to be in a folder all their own so they don't get confused with the ones that actually go on the website. And I'm going to hit choose. So up here again, it's in the Alamo folder. Down here it's in the Nav folder. You can check include areas without slices and then hit export. And I'm going to minimize. We should be able to look in our Alamo folder. There's a Nav folder. That's all the images that it creates. And I should be able to open my Alamo Nav. And this is the navigation that it created. Okay? And now you're ready to go in and build your website.